So shooting natives is legal in North Dakota as long as you do it from a covered wagon, right? I told you that one in the last video. That's a real law. The guy that told me that shit was from North Dakota. He was one of the few guys from North Dakota working in my company. And so he was different than the rest of us. We were all from out of state, from out of this area. The guy that told me that racist shit, that law in the racist context, because that's what it was. That guy was a piece of work. I mean, he was cool, but one of those guys you can't trust. So he liked cocaine and liked to go to concerts and party. I've done cocaine a few times in my life. I'm not proud of it. I don't care for it. It's nothing to me. But this guy likes cocaine, and a lot of those guys were doing cocaine. Like, most of the guys were on cocaine or steroids. This guy was fat, so he didn't really give a shit about like steroids. He was fucking drinking beer and doing coke. But he was like pulling the same shit on the guy in my first day on the job. The guy that rolled the joint, the two guys that rolled the joint and smoked me out on my first day out at work, after work. My supervisors are doing that. This guy was my supervisor, but he wasn't like good at this job. He was connected with the guys that own the company. He was connected pretty well, but he didn't have the experience to run the role that he was running. He could have probably been a night supervisor like that. I can trust him with that. But as running days, it was controversial. I didn't think he deserved that. I don't think he rated that one. I think he was still kind of like green for that. But I'm not the one making those shots. But I ended up working for this guy. He's a North Dakota native. Oh, he's not native. He's white. But he's from North Dakota. But he told me that racist shit. And then he'd be doing some sketchy ass shit. And then the cocaine, he liked to do his cocaine. So like he'd be doing cocaine and then bringing his computer, or he'd bring his PlayStation or some shit and play it in his truck. I don't fucking know. I wasn't really playing games at the time, but he did that. But he's like, "Yo, John, you want to do some coke?" And I was like, "Oh, well, where'd you get it? You know, like where's it from?" And he's like, I got some good shit. You know, he's like, they all think they got some good shit, whatever. But these guys did have some good shit. These guys had some shit that'll really fucking get you. And anyways, I did some coke with this guy, and I only did it like to get him to loosen up to me. You know, like I wanted to see the real him. And that's the way you get to really see people, is when you share some moments with people, especially over like drugs. I've seen it a lot, and I don't need to do drugs. I don't give a shit about coke, but I know coke doesn't really have an effect on me. So I was like, yeah, I'll do some coke. What you got? So anyways, after I did coke with this guy, he fucking had like a lot of guys in my company kind of like opened up a little bit more to me. They trusted me a little bit more because they heard that I was cool. So there's that, right? And don't fucking do coke to be fucking cool. Like, you don't need to do that shit. But I did it. And now when I was in Seattle, people were dying from this shit. And this was before I learned about anything happening, what they're mixing it with. So I did like maybe like 5 lines of cocaine with this guy. He had a fucking whole table full of this shit, and I was just lightly going. But after I did it with him, he started opening up and started telling me like some gossips and shit. Like he was like really like in the know of a lot of shit, and he was fucking like telling me a lot of shit. But he was a fucking turd. Like he was a piece of work. He like I told you, told me that racist ass joke. But he got me once on the job, and I was a little upset about this fucking job, but I bit my lip and I fucking did it. But after I did this job, he actually started vouching for me and like putting in word for me, like good word for me. Like he worked with me and saw what I was capable of doing, and he's like, okay, this guy's good to keep around, right? Kind of deal. That's the vibe I got from his crew or his clique, right? So there's a lot of little cliques. These guys click up, and these guys are all cokeheads and shit. And I don't really give a fuck. They were what they were thinking anyways, but I noticed their attitude changed to me after that. So one night I'm excited because I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm going into shift tonight. I know what to expect. I just gotta rig out and I'll be good. Like I can chill for like the rest of the night. Only takes me like 4 hours like to rig out. If I had to do most of the work by myself as a hand, and I have a good hand, if I have a good supervisor, we can do better. Like we can do it like 3.5. But I'm the one gonna bang most of the fucking pipe loose. I'm gonna fucking get all the little shit, all the heavy shit out of the way. He's gonna help me on moving the pipe and probably opening up the fucking tank. Like that, the tank is got a seal gasket with these fucking big ass nuts and bolts, and there's like 30 of them in a fucking circle, and you need to get a hammer wrench and a little fucking hammer and bang each one of these things fucking loose, and you go in a circle, and it takes you about an hour to fucking get this shit done, right? 30 minutes if you're fucking pretty good and you fucking get all this shit down. Then if you fucking strip them, and there's a whole like technique to do this shit, you get better after it over time. It's a fucking pain in the ass to do it though. No one wants to do it. I learned how to do it, and I just fucking always hit it. Like I would be the first one to hit it if I could, just to get it out of the way and let everyone just, okay, John's doing that, go ahead and fucking let's do this and do that, since he's doing most of that shit. If I'm doing all this shit and I come back and I still gotta do other shit, I'm gonna be fucking clowning on you. Like you're gonna be fucking hearing some shit. I'm gonna be fucking clowning on you, teasing you in front of everyone. So yeah, I go and we move this shit. What was I saying? And then I'm ready to rig out. I'm going to work, excited. I rig out with some fucking oomph. You know, I get after it. This motherfucker. Because I was planning on a short day. Like, we're rigging out our equipment. We're going to go fucking stage it for our next well. And we're going to rig in tomorrow. Or the next crew is going to rig in when they get to this well. Because this well, we got to wait for everything to be set up. And we got to move our equipment. And it takes a lot of like trucks and manpower to move all this shit together. So like we're moving onto site, rigging in our equipment. But all I got to do is stage it. After we rigged out, we're supposed to go stage it. So we did that. We rigged out. We went and staged it at our new site. But this motherfucker drives me to another location to help out his friend, and in their hand rig in. And I was like, motherfucker, you know, like you got me, because you know, I've got to follow this dude wherever he goes, you know, like I'm his hand right now, and I'm on ticket and I'm getting paid, and I just gotta go and bite my lip and just say fuck. But he told me about it. He's like, yeah, we're gonna go help these guys rig in. And I'm like, what the fuck? He's like, come on, it'll be real quick if we just all do it. And I was like, man, that's some bullshit. All right, fuck it, let's do it. So I went and I helped these guys rig in, and they were really, really grateful. And after that, like they were nicer, you know, they were nicer. But it was just like, dude, you guys are a piece of work, bro. Like, you guys are slaving us away. That's not cool. But it wasn't too bad because they paid us pretty good. I was like, all right, it could be worse. You know, again, you could be it can always be worse. That's what I always said. But there's that shit. The oil field is weird like that, where they got little companies cutting corners like that. Most reputable companies would have more than enough guys to do this work safely and efficiently. It felt like we were being rushed with a real small crew because we were trying to help the company grow. But the problem was we didn't have, it wasn't really like a legit established company. It was still small and young. And what happened was I remember this guy, he used to be like us, like a tester in Canada. He did this work in Canada. He got the experience. He knows what he's doing. He's a 10-year guy. He did it over 10 years. He married well. His wife helped him open up a company because he was tight with the company man at some old company he worked at. And he was tight with like the XTO people. And he was able to get a contract with them if he opened up his own company. And that's how that worked out. But the problem is he didn't have the resources lined up. He didn't have like people training people how to do this work the right way and safely. He was more like on the job training. Like, you go to other companies and they'll sit you down in front of a fucking classroom and they'll go over some real knowledge with you, so at least they can say they told you. Not like putting you in situations where you don't know what the fuck you're looking at or doing or reading, and watching these guys figure it out too, you know. And like, no. But when you work with the guys that know what they're doing, you actually do learn. And it's not really too hard. But when you talk to other people that work in other companies, or you seem to realize like how much of a disservice you're given, you know, like, yo, how come they got to go and do all that and do this and although that's Halliburton. Oh oh shit, okay, yeah, that is Halliburton. Halliburton got money to train their people. Shit, they put us right in the fucking grinder. My first night, we almost had a blowout. Blowouts are nuts. They're like those videos you see of shit going wrong in the oil field, viral. You know, you see those viral videos of the oil field going wrong. That's probably a blowout. My last job, like my last 2 weeks with the company I was at, we had a blowout. I wasn't there. My friend that told me if there's any kind of problem, just run the fuck away. He became a supervisor later on down the road. He was a night operator, night supervisor. The last 2 weeks I was there, I was on a frack, and so I didn't have to do shit. My shit was squared away. I was chilling. But we got word that there was a big blowout up the road from us, and our guys' names were mentioned. So we go and load up in the truck, and we take a drive up there. It's not far from our location. And we're at this other well. As soon as we get into this road and we're going around this like little hill and dirt road, I could smell it. It's in the air, oil and gas. It's fucking bad. So I get there, we're driving through, and we're seeing like the air's full of fog from the fucking shit spraying out. And what they did was they can't do nothing. They got to let it die, right? They did that. It's already out of control. They're going to let it just fucking lose pressure and die. What they did was they set up some trailers for, my company set up some trailers on a pad right next to it to support operations going in and out of the cleanup. because we were going to be part of the cleanup, because our guys were the ones that were on, our equipment is the what failed. And our guys said that the night operator failed to do his job, and this is the result. So I know these guys, and I love this guy. And if he wasn't such an awesome guy, I wouldn't vouch for him. I would never fucking speak good of him, but he is an awesome guy. But that night, they had a fucking blowout, and everybody was talking shit. And this guy was a 10-year guy. He knew what's up. So when I'm listening to 2, 3, 4-year guys talking their shit about a 10-year guy saying, I would have did this, and that wouldn't have happened on my shift, and this one, I'm like, bro, you weren't fucking there. Shut the fuck up. Like, that guy is the man. That guy knows this job. He can do this job. And then we're gonna go and help him clean it up now, because we had an accident. So we get there, and I'm smelling this shit. I'm watching. There are trucks on the road, on the dirt roads, parked on the hills, sucking fluid off the ground. They're sucking this shit up off the ground. So what happened was the well, our equipment was on the well, and the well, you gotta open up the well with some fuck you call those spinning fucking things. Shit, I'm so stoned, I don't remember that shit. They're like pulleys. We open the well, right, with these circular fucking things you twist. I forget the name. I'm so embarrassed by that. But anyways, on our equipment, you just have to take a pipe and push it, a valve open with this pipe, and it'll shut this valve closed or open it, and you can use that to control the flow of the well through our equipment. On the well, there is that fucking wheel with bars that you can close the well, the BOP, the head. You can close it, and we can detach our equipment off of it. So that's what we do, right? We attach equipment. We got pipe and valves, and we attach it to the well, and we can open and close our equipment, our pipes, pretty much. That's the gist of it. And we control the well too. Like, we open the well and we close the well. It's on us. So we're opening this motherfucker up and we're closing it. And whenever we open it, we open these things slowly, because we're dealing with thousands of pounds of pressure. So we're opening it, and then we hear a little psst, and we test it. And then we hear the pressure equalize, and then we can open it all the way. And once you get that fucking entry open, it's easier to open. It'll be easier. Unless your valves are not greased. You got to grease these motherfuckers. We use a lot of grease. But if you're on top of your shit, you won't have no problems. Unless that pressure is really ridiculous. A lot of wells, the pressures are always vary between wells. Well, we're on this location where they had a blowout, and they weren't able to close the well. And our equipment failed, and it was blowing out. And they got washed out, right? I talked about washing out parts in the last video. You got these chunks of iron, and it got washed out. And my guy wasn't able to go and get that valve closed in time. And what happened is it got washed out, and shit, oil started spraying out everywhere, and it got so bad. And these things start off really small. It just starts off as a little leak, a little drip. Okay, we need to close the well and repair our seals and equipment and make sure it's good to go, and then open it back up and do it safely. But if there's a lot of pressure and it just fucking tears that shit up, because there's sand and chemicals going through it, tearing it up, that's gonna get washed out faster and faster. And if you don't get it under control, you get a blowout. And that's what happened. Our equipment failed, it got washed out, and they weren't able to get to the well and close the well with that big wheel. It might be a valve. A valve. Yeah, that I think it's called a valve. I'm so stupid. Anyways, yeah. You can't get there if you're getting sprayed with all this bad shit. And then once it's out of control, you got to get away because anything can happen. That shit can blow up, catch on fire. Pipe can start flying all over the place. It's a disaster. So we're going into this other location to check our guys out and give a hand what we can. We're working with frack on our other location. We're not really having to do much. So that's what we were doing. So they put me in this this trailer, mobile trailer, parked on another well pad with no wells or nothing yet, just a fucking our trailer parked. And then like 2 or 3 of our trucks are around it, and then we got guys in and out. And then even the truckers are coming in. They started putting the containers to collect the fuel, the fluids. They started dropping those so the truckers can pick up the fluid, suck up what they can, and then drop it in these containers. So it was a whole operation. And then I saw the guy who owned the land, right? The guy that owned the land rolled up in this big badass 1 diesel truck too, but it was red. So he was like a civilian, not really in the oil field, but this was his land and he was getting paid. Like he was making money off this. So he was a wealthy North Dakota guy, and he was fucking helping with the cleanup, and he was using resources from his whatever he did, and he was monitoring it, and he's like, yeah, I'm gonna get paid again. He was like he was ecstatic, and I was just like, whoa, dude, this is kind of weird. But I was like in this trailer, and I just fucking had to stand by and manage the fluids that were coming in and out of these containers. But every time I went out of this trailer, I get hit with gas. It was fucked up. They should have gave us respirators or some shit. But then my homie Doug, my homie came out, and he was like coming over, checking me out. I guess he was trying to get a drink or something, get meal in, and he was all upset, with himself, and he knew what was coming. He's a 10-year guy. He knew the kind of flack that was coming his way, and I think he did everything he could to his best ability, and I don't think anybody would have been able to do it any better than how he handled that. That's my honest opinion. A lot of people talk big though, and they had a lot of hate on this guy. But he's solid. I've seen him work. I've seen his skills. He's a real good car guy. So he's good at this shit. And people that are good with cars are good at this job. They're really good at it. They understand like motors and how things operate. And when you put all our equipment and you bang it all together in place, and you open a well and you're flowing, it's kind of like an engine. It's kind of like a motor running. And we control the flow of the oil coming through with chokes. We got manual chokes, different size chokes, and we'll fucking install these things, and we'll change the rate of barrels of oil that we collect. Because like I said, we attach to these wells, and we flow it. And it was actually one of the best experiences in my life. Like I loved it. I had a great time with it. Not everyone does. Not everyone does. If I never went through the Marine Corps, I don't think I would have enjoyed that shit. That's to be honest. I was just being honest. Like the Marine Corps gave me like thick skin, where I was like, okay, I can handle you guys. But damn, that was a rough time. I was more of a zombie though. I think when I was working 2 jobs. OilField was manageable because like the family's not really there. The working 2 jobs man, I understand how people have heart attacks in their cars, you know, trying to take naps and shit like that from working 3 jobs. That's heavy. It's a heavy toll. I don't wish that on anyone, especially my kids. So if they ever watch this video, please take my advice. Don't kill yourself for anyone. Love you all.